I'm your host, Samantha Roth, and today we're at the Avenel Performing Arts Center to get an inside look at their upcoming performance of Cocktail Hour, the show. The artistic director of the show. Marilyn, thank you so much for coming to see me today.
Pleased, thank you.
So just to start, let me know, what is this show about?
Cocktail Hour is sort of a dreamy visit to the living rooms of Americans, kind of after World War II. So when the veterans came home and the developers started building tract homes and families moved in, for the first time Americans had income where they could entertain at home. So the women would have their barbecue outfits and invite friends over by the pool, and they would start experimenting with afternoon and evening cocktails. And I experienced this by growing up with my family, and this inspired me to somehow pull it all together into a show when I grew up. So the audience comes to like a nightlife experience. It's like going to the theater, for instance, in Avenel Performing Arts. When they come to the show, it's not like sitting in a theater and, you know, holding your hands in your lap and clapping politely. When you come, you can order one of the cocktails that we're performing in the show, which is Cocktail Hour. And for instance, the very first number that we're doing is called Zombie. And the Zombie is a rum-based drink, and it's from Southern California. And it's several different types of rum. And it was made by a guy named Don the Beachcomber. And I used to go to this restaurant with my parents when I was a child, and it was a Polynesian themed restaurant. Word has it that he said, after you have this drink with all this rum, that you will no longer be a human being, you will be a zombie. So, but I made it sort of like a sci-fi pool splash party, summertime. So there are a lot of historical references, but it's kind of a good time. So after Zombie, we go right to Mai Tai. When, you know, Americans started vacationing in Hawaii, so they started becoming familiar with, you know, those type of things. But the costuming, for instance, in Mai Tai, she's the orchid that you would find floating in your glass. And then we have animated projections of a volcano. So it's a whole environment that the audience is invited to experience.
So each number personifies, in a way, like the feeling that you get with that cocktail.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
The music and
the
all
music,
of it comes
yes.
together.
Yes, exactly. And the music and the costuming, the dancing, and the whole concept is different for every single number, and the numbers are very quick. So it's for the audience that is used to seeing quick editing and music editing. All the music is created for us. There are a few pieces that are not, but most of it is created especially for us. We have our own composer, and so we have pop music, rock music, jazz, classical. So there's really, but it's exactly what you said, that every single number, the audience is invited into a world, and they can, and the performers are wonderful actors and actresses as well as dancers, so they really like to reach across the supposed line between audience and performer and bring the audience in.
And are all of the dances ballet, or is there other?
Well, all of the dancers are classically trained, but we have a lot of different footwear, you know. So the first dance, Zombie, the invading zombies, all wear point shoes, because why wouldn't you? It's like really way out, you know, people who stand on their toes. I mean, that's freaky, right? So that's perfect use of the balletic point shoe. And then the Mai Tai, she's in point shoes. Quite a few are, but then the Sputnik, which is vodka and sour grapes to sort of represent the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States in the 60s. She's more of a rockabilly chick, so she wears, you know, big rubber shoes and a radio transmitter on her head, and we're premiering Hot Toddy, which is like a 1920s speakeasy kind of Max Sennett cop caper. The ladies wear little high heel character shoes and Roaring Twenties dresses, and yeah, so we wear a lot of different kinds of shoes.
Yeah, so as the artistic director, it sounds like this is kind of your baby.
Yes.
Like you're the one making it work, making it happen.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your process. I understand that you said, you know, you drew from your past,
yes,
and that's where your inspiration came
yes,
from. But there seems to be so much detail involved. I'd love to like get into the
yeah,
nitty-gritties.
Okay, well, let's talk about Hot Toddy, since that's the new piece that we are premiering at Avenel, okay? And we're doing that all 5 nights of our all 5 shows of our appearance, because we do have 2 matinees. Whereas some of the other shows we're doing different numbers, so if an audience member wants to attend, they can come twice and see a different show. Hot Toddy has taken us over 2 years to create. It's sort of started with a desire to make a Christmas show, believe it or not, but it sort of devolved into a fight between society ladies and their very elegant husbands in top hats, and sort of like malls, gunslinging malls or something, that meet them at a speakeasy, because a speakeasy already, I mean, I don't know if the audience knows, there was prohibition at this time. Drinking was not allowed in the United States, so people had to sort of go to special places where they'd knock on the door and give the password. So I mean, you know, how not to do this, all right?
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. However, during the process, the dancers have been real sports, because you can imagine the repetition, the constant repetition, and I think they are so relieved to finally get to premiere this, because we've been working on it so much, and we have a fight choreographer that came to work with us for the end of the piece, so it gives you an idea of what happens at the end of the piece. The costume designer really studies the period and what we're doing. The person making the projections, again, likewise studies the period. Our composer has recorded banjo and all kinds of different instruments to put into the score. And sometimes we even perform with live music. So, but there is a lot of detail.
Yeah, and it really does sound like no other show I've ever seen or heard of.
I've heard that, yes.
And it's interesting because your dance company is called Ballets with a Twist.
Yes.
So is this kind of what you always go for?
I guess so. I mean, I can't say I go for anything. It obviously just happens because of the feeling, but it naturally happens. But I have to say that we have a new dancer in the group, and she keeps saying to me, I've never seen anything like this before. This is so unusual. And that's from a dancer, and she's, you know, new, and she's kind of amazed, yeah. Because we really, it's ballet, it's classical ballet, but we want to entertain, we want to have an American audience, we want them to come out of their living rooms. We know they love Dancing with the Stars, we know they love dance. It's part of our heritage with Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, Ginger Rogers, Juliet Prowse. This is us, and so I just really want to give it back to the American audience so that they don't feel the distance that they may have been feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like a show for anyone.
Yeah.
So who would you recommend come see this performance?
As I said, anyone who's sitting at home and watching the dance competition shows where they vote on the dancer. We also have mocktails in the show. We have Shirley Temple. We have Roy Rogers. Kids love the show. Husbands love the show. The dancers are so beautiful. I shouldn't be bragging, and I don't think I'm bragging, but there is wit. But it takes time to bring that wit out. You know, we can't just start with a joke. It takes 2 years to make these jokes, you know, like comedians and script writers. And so we really developed the show. I mean, we haven't found anybody who's complained about attending the show. And if people are looking for a little nightlife and they want to get out and have fun, it would be sort of like going to a club. It's just that we're dancing and they're not, but hopefully they're sort of dancing in their chairs.
Yes, and it's one of the best parts of the Avenel Performing Arts Center is you're allowed to bring your beverage into the auditorium with you.
Exactly.
So that's nice.
Exactly, yeah. And we're performing Cuba Libre, so rum and Coke they're going to have here, and Manhattan, so that they'll have the bourbon. The Manhattan dance is really fun, and believe it or not, children, that's a real children's favorite. I know there's one other cocktail we're doing besides Manhattan and Cuba Libre that they're sort of pegging it to cocktails in the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every show is a little different.
Every show's a little different. I had mentioned the zombie, and for the audience that's scared of coming to see the zombie, we're also performing a program that starts with Champagne, which is a beautiful ballroom dance number. And the program that starts with Champagne, which is program 2, ends with Rum Runner. And so that starts with Mojito, so it has a great Latin feel. And then that goes to Cuba Libre, and it ends with Caipirinha, which is the national drink of Brazil. So I get to create a Brazilian float on stage, you know, with the dancers. And then the program 1 that starts with Zombie, the piece that we do that's different there is the Mint Julep. And the Mint Julep, we have a dancer from Woodbridge performing in that, a young dancer who's been with us, Crystal Mosquera. In every program we're doing Sputnik, and again, beautiful young dancers that have been with us for quite some time, Vanessa de Jesus and Crystal Mosquera. They will be dancing, and they're fantastic. And yeah, so yes, the programs are different, and
amazing. So come see it twice.
Come see it twice. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Marilyn.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you taking the time. The show sounds fantastic.
Oh, wow.
I love your creative process.
Thank you
so much for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
And we'll be right back to speak with some of the dancers that Marilyn just mentioned. now with 3 of the dancers for Cocktail Hour, the show. Girls, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Absolutely.
Claire, let me start with you. You're one of the company's soloists. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Well, I started dancing for Ballets with a Twist about 5 years ago, and it's been a wonderful experience in the studio and on tour, because we do tour a lot. Working with Marilyn is always a blast, creating new works and always working on existing works to make them more exciting and bring more life to them each time. It's been a really wonderful experience.
Yeah, and how important is that as a dancer? Like, it is your job to portray what the director and everyone else is trying to get across. So how do you tap into that?
Well, this is a very specific type of work we do, right? So we're bringing a cocktail menu to life, and each of the cocktails has a whole different essence, and to be able to play all those different characters is such a fantastic a job. And each one is embedded with its own characteristics. For instance, one of the ones that you'll see if you come to the Avenel Art Center in August is one that the 3 of us are actually performing together, and that one's called Sputnik, and it's a very high energy, spunky dance. It's actually one of the oldest dances in the repertoire, and I've only ever performed it as a solo. So this is going to be the very first time that we get to perform it as a trio, and I'm very excited for that.
That is so exciting. And we have Vanessa and Crystal, and you girls are both Colonia natives, right? You guys live here. You go to Colonia High School?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you got wrapped up with Ballets with a Twist.
Well, when we were 7, we both came to the audition, and we both come from the same studio in Colonia. And so we started when we were 7, and it's been 6 or 7 years being in the company.
Wow. And what kind of work is involved in that? I mean, you guys are pretty young, but you obviously have great work ethic.
Yeah, it's just a great experience being with everyone and dancing and performing with them.
And how do rehearsals work?
So we come in for about 2 hours, and we rehearse our dances. And
every day?
Not
maybe like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And you go over your dances with Claire. Are you dancing in any other numbers besides Sputnik?
Yeah. We also have a duo together called Shirley Temple.
Oh, that's fun. So what's that one like?
We're just like 2 girls like playing dress up and having fun with each other.
Yeah.
That sounds really cute. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about what it's like being part of a New York company at such a young age.
It's such a great experience because like everyone in the company is so welcoming and sweet. So it's great.
And is this what you guys want to do? Like, this is locked in your future?
Yeah.
So what are the next steps?
We just plan to continue like dancing.
Yeah. Awesome. So Claire, tell me a little bit about your background, your history with dance. Like, how does one become a company soloist, like a professional dancer? That's so many people's dreams, and you're doing it.
It is. It's a lot of work ethic, which you mentioned. And I actually am a native New Yorker. I grew up there. I trained in classical ballet at the School of American Ballet, and then I went on at the age of 18 to start dancing professionally.
Wow.
Yes. Working in New York is such a delight, to actually be in the mecca of the arts, which is fantastic. I mean, it's like no other experience, and I'm sure both of you would agree with that. Yeah. It's a long road, you know. I mean, you're always auditioning, you're always having to condition your body, you're always having to keep yourself well fed, both physically and mentally and emotionally, in order to keep up with the day-to-day dancer life, but it's extremely rewarding.
Of course. So what are some of those things that you mentioned? I'm very interested in health and fitness and all that. I would love to know what the dancers do.
Well, we usually take class every day, like an 1.5 hour class to condition our bodies. We do a lot of outside work as well, either going to the gym or we do Pilates. A lot of us do gyrotonics.
Oh, wait, what is that?
It's another fitness routine that is very good for your body and keeps you in shape, but without overstraining your muscles.
So what are those exercises like? Are they similar to Pilates or?
Yeah, it's similar. It means a different regimen. But all of it allows our bodies to be ready for when we come into rehearsal and we're given new choreography, or we're working on old choreography like we are right now and redoing it in some way and restaging it. You have to be ready to go, and your body needs to be ready to respond to the hard work of dance so that it looks its best and you can be your best self out there.
Right, yeah, I mean, the stamina, you guys are pretty young, but I mean, I think even at your age, when I was a young girl, I would still be pretty tired, and it's hard after going to school all day and then you have to go dance. How do you guys like keep the energy up?
Yeah, so usually in the summer we have most of our practices, and on school days we go to another studio. So we go to New York on the weekends when we have school.
Yeah.
But you feel like it's pretty easy to keep up with everybody?
Yeah. It's kind of difficult, like some days when you have too much like homework, or like you have a project over the weekend, but going to dances is like, it's worth it.
Right, yeah, because this is what you guys love to do.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm looking forward to your performance of Cocktail Hour the Show here at the Avenel Performing Arts Center. Until next time, I'm Samantha Roth. Thanks for watching.